We're up in the Dragoon Mountains at the Jersey Lily. I'm sure you remember that's where it was. The fellow behind me or next to me here is Terco Paco, the Tombstone Bandito. How you doing, Terco?
I'm doing very good. We went down to town today and pillaged and terrorized.
Did you scare any little kids?
Unfortunately, we did, yeah.
So, how long you been up in the Dragoons?
About 6 years.
So have the federales ever caught up to you?
No, they haven't found me here on the Cascabel Ranch, the Rattlesnake Ranch.
Okay, now, I'm sure by now you realize this is really Jerry Brewer, former Hollywood actor and star of many films.
Star, yeah.
Well, tell us some of the films you've been in.
True Grit, World Gone Wild, and The Phony Perfecter, and California Dreamin', and Birds Do It, Bees Do It, and Under the Hula Moon, which was just a real dandy.
Well, now you were in one just not too long ago, right, that was filmed around here?
Yeah, they did one. It's called Sex, Drugs, and Money or something. It kind of a comedy, and I play a bad guy in a saloon, of course.
That's called typecasting, I think.
Yeah, it seems like I either end up being a real bad guy or I end up being a cop. Which might be both sometimes.
I think sometimes they do get confused, at least especially in today's movies. Now, you mentioned California Dreaming. Wasn't that with Bo Derek?
Yeah, I played Bo Derek's boyfriend in California Dreaming, and that was really some hard work. As a Warner Brother production, and I got to meet Mr. Warner, who is, about 5 feet tall, and he just thought I was the craziest guy in Hollywood, and he called me personally and wanted me to do the shot, and he said, well, I can't pay you very much, but he said, you get to play Bo Derek's boyfriend. And then when I got down there on the set, and I saw Bo Derek, and I knew it was going to be a lot of fun, for some reason we just couldn't get the shot, with that one bedroom shot done, and I spent 3 days in bed with Bo Derek, and boy, I tell you, it's hard work, but somebody's got to do it.
And I'm going to presume you were wearing different kind of makeup than you're wearing today.
Absolutely. I played a cowboy, and I was supposed to be this very handsome cowboy, so there was no scars and no black eyes and no peeling lips and no scars on the neck and all that. But I will have to say, and people ask me a lot, after all the actors, being with Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne, and, not to be name dropping, but some really, really super actors and stars that I have had the opportunity and the honor to work with. I'll tell you, Bo Derek was one of the finest people I've ever met. Just, I can't say enough good things about what a sweet, wonderful, kind, and thoughtful person she was.
Do you have any stories you want to tell us?
This is a family program.
I really don't know who's going to be watching this program.
There's just been some really crazy things. I think one of the most interesting things I ever did was in a movie called World Gone Wild, and I can't even remember his name. You might remember the director. He's a great, famous director that directed Grand Prix. I can't remember his name right now, but he's a very demanding director, and he's a real perfectionist. And we were doing the scene where I was to fall into a grave, and it was full of rattlesnakes, scorpions, and tarantula spiders. And the scene was to show me being bitten all over by these creatures, and of course I was going to die. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were taking about the 5th or 6th take, and we were shooting in October here in Arizona, and it was just, so cold at night. And reptiles don't really work well on the coal, but it come out good that we did, because one of the rattlesnakes got inside my wardrobe. So I had a 4-foot rattlesnake inside my shirt, crawling around on the inside. And about that time, our director come up, and he was yelling that the scorpions weren't large enough. So I stood up, in about 40-degree weather with a rattlesnake inside my shirt and scorpions on my face and such. And I just told the director, and I wish I could remember his name, but I just told him if he didn't like the size of the scorpions, he was complaining they were too small, that he could get down in that grave with them and finish the scene. He looked me dead in the eye and he said, "Scorpions are fine." And I got back down in, and we got the snake removed from my wardrobe, and then we did a scene where I took a large scorpion, about 4 inches long, put a live scorpion in my mouth, and of course when I died I turned sideways and I opened my mouth and the scorpion crawled out onto my face. And this was a scorpion that we'd actually taken and put some paraffin, some wax on the end of his sting, so he couldn't sting me when inside my mouth.
You had a live scorpion inside your mouth.
Yeah.
And this was before they did that show they're doing now, Jackass.
Oh, yeah, but the guys on Jackass didn't get paid, and I was making at that time for World Gone Wild, I was making screen actor wages plus bonus boosts, which was pretty hefty back then. So I grinned all the way to the bank. I mean, making movies, it's lucrative,
I've heard tell of that. I haven't experienced it.
Well,
my first gig was as a one of many hundreds of extras on The Right Stuff, for which I got paid a free sandwich.
yeah, sometimes that happens when you do the extra things, but it's a good way to break in and get to know people and possibly pick up a speaking role and get your SAG initiation over with and get into the Screen Actors Guild.
Okay, well, I thank you for your time. The people back in Vacaville and elsewhere, if we're lucky, will see this interview and we'll all know who Jerry Brewer is.
You're very welcome. Come out here and see my place in Dragoon, and the original Jersey Lily, and Judge Roy Bean's place is in Langtree, Texas, and I kind of rebuilt it here up here in the Dragoon Mountains because I just kind of liked old hanging Judge Roy Bean.
Later on, if I can, I'm going to give you a little tour of the ranch up here, the Rattlesnake Ranch. There's some interesting sights here. I can look over to my right and see a gallows. There's nobody hanging from it right now, which is a good thing.
Get old Bungalow Bill up there and see if we can get one of those nooses over his head here in a little bit.
I think Bungalow Bill is retired now, and Marshall Bill is taking his place, but we'll see about that.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jerry. Appreciate it.